Hey guys, welcome to another video. I released a video on our YouTube channel not too long ago about a new fried liver trap that you guys should all check out. If you haven't seen it, I'll leave the link down below. This thing is taking over. I'm telling you, you have to start playing this right now. In today's video, I'm going to show you, I've been trying this opening out against very strong players. Yes, it's working. And I'm going to show you a game that I played against a grandmaster where it worked flawlessly. So I've been trying this opening in the Blitz pool. I'm somewhere between 2,700 and 2,800. I got a 2,800 GM, and this is the game that we had, e4, e5. He played right into it. So this was really nice. Bishop c4. He went bishop c5, and of course, queen e2, which pretty much qualifies this as our opening, the gioco bellissimo. Queen e2 and knight f6 is the most common move, and it was played by my opponent, and now we get to play knight g5. So this is what it's all about. This is our trap. I have played this so many times, and they always castle here. It's the most logical move. It defends f7 with the rook. Normally in the fried liver, you can't castle. It's not an option. So this new fried liver, they just think, oh, okay, I'm going to castle. This doesn't make sense at all. Knight f7, falling right into it. If you saw my first video, you know that this is the exact trap. But I'm playing a GM here. He's not necessarily just going to walk into rook takes f7, right? So this is what we're used to. This is what normally happens. But when you're playing a GM, they will find moves like queen e7. And queen e7 is a very good move. It looks totally insane, I can't lie, right? To leave the king. It's white to move here, by the way. Leaving the king in a position where the bishop is lined up against it looks just nonsense. I can take this pawn with a check, but I think this is quite risky as black is fully developed, castled. It actually gets quite scary. So this line is still a lot of work for white to do. We're up a pawn. I continued with knight g5. I think it forces the king to the corner. And I think this is probably, a critical position for this line. The way I see it, yes, black wants to play knight g4 to hit this pawn, but they can't do that just yet. We have queen takes g4. That's important. Knight d4 is about to hit our queen. So from here, what I did was c3. I think this is a key move. And what white wants to do here is watch out for this knight move. Yes, play the move d3 because we need to defend our knight. Black wants to play knight there, so they're probably going to play d6 to support it. That queen will also be hitting our knight, which is why we need to play d3 to open up our bishop. And we want to make sure we're watching over the f2 pawn. So whether that means bringing our knight back, maybe playing h3 to cover the g4 square. What I'd like to do are things like d3, h3, knight back. If I can, bishop e3 to oppose the bishop here. And I've got that extra f pawn that, I'm looking to get away with scot-free. So we'll see, how many times this variation happens. But from my experience, it takes a GM to play a move like queen e7. Everyone else, believe me, is going to be taking that knight. However, I thought I'd show this game because it was very, very intense. d6. Yes, knight there is the threat. I went for d3, as I just mentioned. Knight g4, only logical. This pawn is being hit 3 times here. So pretty scary. But my bishop is doing a defensive job on that knight. h6 played, and now I think I can get away with knight to f7. Of course, we could also take this knight. I decided to go here, meaning that if black decides to take 2 pieces for the rook, congratulations, but you're also losing the knight. So that won't work in the end. Knight f2, rook f1, saving my rook. Black has nothing better than to take my free bishop here because the knight's basically, it's got nowhere to go. So queen takes bishop, rook takes. This is all forced. And we somehow get to this crazy position where I've got no rook to castle with, but I'm up a pawn. And we have opposite bishops. So if I can, I'd love to just trade pieces here. I have a very solid structure, and we can see how the game continued here. But out of the opening, very, very successful. A grandmaster walking right into knight f7. That's the whole point of this new fried liver idea. And obviously the time was getting low for both of us, but that extra pawn, as you'll see, is the difference here. We're just trading pieces. but my position is easier to play because of my opening and because I was up that pawn. And of course he blunders, just playing quick at the end, and I was able to put the game away and come away with a win against a very strong player there, Grandmaster. So this line, I think for sure can work at all levels. If it works at the highest level, absolutely. I even think it would be more common for people to fall into it at lower ratings. So I'm sure you guys can make a career, gain some elo out of using this opening, and do it now. People are going to watch the videos and start to be like, oh, what's going on with this line? Start to check it out. So start playing it now. Start playing it now, guys. So I'm sure a lot of you are seeing this new opening and probably thinking like, okay, he's just cherry picking his wins. And believe me, I certainly am. That was my best win. But I also have tried it against many other players, and I'll show you my chess.com stats using the opening explorer here. So if we just go ahead and play the moves of the opening, right? I'm looking through my own games here with the white pieces, and if we look at this position right here, you'll see that we've actually had it knight g5 7 times. So we have gotten a lot of experience with it so far. I've been trying it as much as possible in the chess.com Blitz pool over the last couple days. And after knight g5, every single time that I've gotten this, and these are all 2,500 plus chess.com Blitz players, they all castle. Titled players, grandmasters, 2,500s, they all castle here because it is the most logical move. It's what they're doing every single time, and it walks right in to knight f7. As you can see, 86% win rate with this opening. Knight f7 is just happening every single time, and it's such a killer. Most people, when this happens, they kind of get like shocked mentally. They're like, oh, I messed up. Like I fell into an opening trap. They get discouraged. I've had people just, not even want to continue the game or just resign early because they assume they've just made a huge mistake. So this can really throw your opponents off. Knight f7. I think it takes a GM to play a move like queen e7 because it's only happened the one time, which is the game I just showed you guys. Otherwise, everyone else is playing rook takes and then falling into, of course, bishop takes and queen c4. These are the games that I've played. As you can see here, November 27th, and I've been spamming it as much as I can. If I get e4, e5, I'm trying to play it every single time. Beat 25-50. We did lose a game to 27-40. It's we take a loss in there, but I was still happy with the opening in that game. He still fell into the trap, but things happen in Blitz games. We bounced back, beat it 26-70, 25-50. 2670, 2300, and we just beat a GM 2840. So some pretty nice games here. Good statistics. I'm going to keep playing it myself, and I highly recommend you guys try this opening out. In e4, e5, this is a killer. Everyone's used to the regular fried liver, but this new queen e2 move, nobody is expecting. Everybody castles and allows knight takes f7, and at this point, it's just free elo that you've got to go collect. And our new opening has also received the high praise and endorsement of Grandmaster Pranav, Buddy Pranav. He used it in a Titled Tuesday very recently and gave it a go against a very strong player, Grandmaster Pavel Elyanov, who is super strong, but Buddy Pranav with the white pieces, he went straight for it, gave it a go, queen e2 and knight g5. So we all know the ideas by now, and of course, as I've been telling you guys, even world-class grandmasters, well-prepared, they castle. They all castle. Knight takes f7, and the thing about grandmasters is when they get bamboozled with knight f7, they're not quick to play rook takes. A lot of lower rated players definitely just take out of instinct. It does look very scary. But those GMs, queen e7, they know when they've been bamboozled, they immediately are like, okay, hang on. Let me try to find the best move. Try to make it as tricky as possible. Elyanov also played queen e7. And Buddy Pranav played very similarly to myself here, brought the knight back to f3, so this is another instructive game in that same line that we looked at earlier in this video. d3, he's got the knight back. He's covered the g4 square with h3. This bishop is watching knight f4. And basically out of the opening, of course, it's not an overwhelming advantage, but it's a clear advantage. White is up a pawn, is getting developed. Black's a little bit ahead, has some compensation, but nothing too scary. And this game was played in the 3+1 time control, so there isn't even flagging. Those Title Tuesday games are pretty intense, pretty serious. And Pranav trying it out in a strong tournament like this, you know, pretty nice look for the line. And he ended up winning this game in impressive fashion. Still up that pawn from before. And although it looks a little sketchy, the knight dominates the bishop on the light squares. Right, this light squared bishop is no good. Knight all over the place. The knight on e3 is just so good. Dark square control for white. And I just thought this was such a great look for the opening. You know, I'm here telling you guys, hey, I promise you, this is really good, really strong. You got to try it out. Well, Buddy Pranav did exactly that in Title Tuesday, no less. And as we can see here, after rook e5, opponent ran out of time, but effectively could resign anyway, losing a piece. The opening worked like a charm. Guys, even the strongest players in the world are falling for this. Every single person is castling after knight g5. I've said it the whole video. One final reminder. Play this now. Try it out for yourself. I really think you'll find some success with it. Let me know in the comments if you have tried it and if you're able to get those quick wins that are out there for the taking. Good luck.